Hey guys, Joel here. What I wanted to do today is just put up a little video, like a short video, about cleaning your game cartridges. I've seen quite a few of these on YouTube, and there's various different methods that people have come up with. But what I wanted to do here was just to show you what's been working for me and what I've been using for the last few years. I basically make sure that I clean every game cartridge that comes into this house, primarily because with the NES games, as I'm sure a lot of you know, they tend to, it's the first time you put them in, you tend to get the blue or grey flashing screen. The game doesn't boot up and you have to pull it out and blow in the cartridge and put it back in again. And basically what this does is that gets rid of this completely. And like I say, you can use it on all games, but you're going to have problems with some games like Atari Jaguar games, for example, because it does involve opening them up. And with the Atari Jaguar games, the screw holes, for some reason, Atari decided to put them underneath the game label. So you're going to have to poke holes in the label to actually take those apart. But so I guess you probably only want to do this with them as a sort of the last resort. So blowing actually into the cartridge is probably not recommended, because although it does fix it in the short term, in the long term what it's going to do is it's going to corrode your cartridge, corrode the metal on the top, because what actually happens is when you blow into it, the moisture from your breath attaches to the edge connector on the cartridge, and it just makes a stronger electrical connection with the pins in your game console. But as I say, it's not recommended. Okay, so let's just have a look at what we've got here. First of all, we've got some rubbing alcohol. This is actually 70%, but probably better than this would be pure alcohol. Basically because it evaporates quicker than water, so it prevents the corrosion that you're going to see if you're using a water-based liquid. It's actually at 30% water, so it's not the best, but it's going to do the trick. It'll do the job quite well. And I've actually heard that that rubbing alcohol apparently is used in electronics a lot because it's non-polar. So if it's applied to electronics, even when the current is running through them, apparently it won't conduct. So it won't damage the electronic item. I don't know how true this is, but it's probably best to avoid it anyway. I've already poured some out in the cap there. This is just a normal rubber. This is basically just used to, once we've used the alcohol to get all the grime and the corrosion off this just gets the rest of it off quite nicely. You'll need a bog standard Q-tip. For the N64 cartridges, they've actually got crosshead screws inside as well, but the main one that you need for most game cartridges is the game bit screw. Probably one of the worst screws, like inventions to date, because what happens with these slightly cheaper game bit adapters is they round off on the inside of the screwdriver, so it's going to basically, unless you're putting a lot of pressure in there, it's going to basically stop this from being usable after an amount of time. But what I've done is I've just taken the screws out already, just to speed things along a little bit. Oh yeah, just one thing to note about the rubbing alcohol. Apparently, a lot of people actually say that you shouldn't use this, but apparently Nintendo actually brought out a cleaner at one point for game cartridges, which was apparently just pure alcohol. So I'm guessing that this probably is the stuff you're going to be wanting to use, and it's used within the electronics industry anyway, for things like mobile phones when they've been, I don't know, dropped in someone's soup or down the toilet or something. Basically they pour this into a bath and they dump the electronic item in the bath and let it soak. So this is, like I say, this is 70%. So you probably want to get the pure alcohol if you can. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to open this cartridge up. I'm just using an N64 cartridge because this one I haven't actually cleaned yet. So it's not as much of a problem actually with N64 cartridges. They tend to work pretty well most of the time, but I like to basically make sure that every one of my games is nice and clean when I receive it, because that way it stops the console from getting lots of crap in it and basically making poor connections inside the console, which is definitely not what you want. I mean, it's going to be hard to eradicate that anyway, but maybe we'll have a look at that in another video. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'll actually see if I can, I'm not sure if I can show you this. I'm not sure if it will show up on the camera. Yeah, you might be able to see on there. You just got those sort of black marks along there and just general grime. Probably more prominent on that side. It's mainly where actually it's gone into the console, and whatever's been on the console's kind of caused that issue there. Right, so we've dipped our Q-tip in the alcohol. I've basically made sure that there's not too much on the Q-tip. So I'll just rub along here. Don't worry it too much if it kind of goes on the main circuit board, the alcohol, because like I say, it will evaporate and you can probably clean it off quite easily. And as you can see there, that's black, and that's all the corroded material that you've got on there. So you can see it's working already. And what we're going to do now is we're going to use the other side just to dry it off and get all the surplus gunk and crap off there. And we'll do the same for the other side while we're here. You can spend a bit more time doing this if you like, but for the purposes of this video I'm just going to give it a light going over with this. It's probably not really required anyway to go over it too insanely if it's not too bad. I mean, look at that. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but that is black there. So we don't need that anymore. Get rid of that, put that on one side. And now we're going to use our rubber. Just go along here. I'm going to get this looking nice and clean. This actually, I'm not sure exactly what this is doing to clean it, but what it does is it pulls off any marks that are left on there after the rubbing alcohol, because the rubbing alcohol really just gets rid of all the surface gunk and crap that you don't need on there. Yeah, that's looking nice and shiny. The difference from the alcohol to the rubber is quite immense. I mean, you'll see what it looked like before. I'll show you up close again in just a moment. This is essentially going to look like a brand new cartridge, and that's definitely what we're after. I'll just do a little bit more on this side and I'll show you guys. Yeah, well, that's looking lovely. You still see the impression of where the cartridge has slotted into the console, but as you can see, all that crap and gunk is gone. That is shiny, shiny, shiny. It's like brand new. That's lovely. Okay, so that about wraps it up. If you found this video helpful, please rate it and just check back soon for another video. Thanks for watching.